How did one routine immigration appointment end with an officer taking my passport and telling me I had to follow them now? Why did my husband look calm in the waiting room while my whole future collapsed in public? I still told myself he was cruel, even as the removal order was read out loud. My name is Verena Tarrant. I was 33 when I learned how fast a life can turn into a report. Back then, I told myself I was just being smart. I said I was doing what anyone would do if they came to a new country with empty pockets and big plans. Ethan Caldwell was my husband. He was 35. He worked in IT and always fixed things. He fixed printers, phones, and other people's panic. At home, he fixed our sink, our bills, and my mood. That is what I told myself. I said he liked being needed. We lived in a small townhouse near the highway. It was not fancy, but it was clean. The kitchen always smelled like coffee and dish soap. I liked that smell because it felt safe. Safe was important to me. Safe meant papers, rules, and a door that locked. That morning, Ethan stood by the counter with his laptop open. He had a plain face, like he was trying to be calm. He asked if we could talk after Mason went to school. Mason was our son. He was 6, and he listened even when he played with cereal. I said we could talk later. I said I had a long day at the dental clinic. I said we should not do heavy talks in front of Mason. I made my voice soft, like I was the careful one. Ethan looked at my phone on the table. He asked why I kept turning it over. He said it felt like I was hiding something. He asked if I was upset with him. I laughed a little and said he was getting strange. I said he was acting like a jealous boyfriend, not a husband. I said he needed to trust me. I said I was tired of being questioned like a teenager. He did not raise his voice. He asked why my late nights were becoming normal. He asked why my stories did not match. He asked why I said I was working, but the clinic schedule did not show overtime. I told him he was using work talk to control me. I said he was trying to trap me at home. I said I moved countries for him and gave up a lot, so he should not act like I owed him proof for every hour. That was not fully true, but it was a useful truth. I believed in useful truths. I still do. Mason asked why we looked mad. Ethan told him nobody was mad, just tired. I told Mason that his dad was worrying too much. I said we were fine. Mason nodded, but his eyes stayed on Ethan's hands. After school drop-off, I drove to the clinic. I worked the front desk. I checked patients in and smiled. I told my coworker Nora that Ethan was being difficult again. Nora asked what he did now. I said he kept talking about honesty like it was a weapon. I said it was exhausting to be married to someone who needed to feel like a hero. Nora said I deserved peace. She asked if Ethan ever remembered that I had my own life. I said he did not. I said he treated me like I was a problem to manage. The truth was simple. I liked how Nora looked at me when I complained. I liked the support. It made me feel right. At lunch, I sat in my car and listened to a voice note from Blake. Blake was not my coworker. He was the man who made me feel wanted without asking questions. He never asked for receipts. He never asked for timelines. He only asked when he could see me. In the voice note, he joked about my immigration stress. He said I should relax because I played the game well. I smiled while I listened. I told myself I did not love him. I told myself it was only fun. I told myself Ethan was safe and Blake was excitement. I said it was balanced. Later that day, Ethan texted me and asked if I could pick up groceries. He said he would cook. He asked if I would be home on time. His words were plain. That made me angry. Plain words felt like judgment. I said yes. I said I would be home soon. I added a heart emoji because it looked peaceful. I liked looking peaceful. At the store, I pushed the cart fast. I moved through the aisles like I had somewhere important to be. I saw couples picking fruit and laughing. I told myself those women did not understand what it meant to build something from nothing. I told myself my marriage was not a love story. It was a plan. Plans were not supposed to be soft. At checkout, my phone buzzed again. I pulled it out and swiped without looking. The screen flashed, and the voice note played out loud. It was not the sweet part. It was the part where I had once joked to Blake that I married Ethan for the visa, and that love was a bonus I could live without. I froze. My hand went cold. The cashier kept scanning items. I tried to stop the audio, but my finger shook and hit the wrong place. In the reflection of the freezer glass near the register, I saw Ethan. He had walked in, holding a small list in his hand. He stood behind me, close enough to hear. He did not shout. He did not rush at me. His face just changed, like a door closing quietly. I turned my phone down fast. I tried to smile like nothing happened. I said his name like I was happy to see him. I asked what he was doing there. I said I was just finishing up. He asked what the message was. He asked who said that. He asked why I would talk about our marriage like it was a joke. I said he misunderstood. I said it was sarcasm. I said Blake was just a friend who teased me. I said Ethan was taking 1 second and turning it into a whole story. I said he always did that. I made my tone sharp, like I was offended. Ethan looked at the bags and then at my phone. He asked to see it. He asked calmly, like it was normal. That calm made me feel smaller, so I pushed back harder. I said he had no right to go through my phone. I said he was invading my privacy. I said he was proving my point about control. I said it was embarrassing to be treated like a suspect in public. The cashier gave me my receipt. I grabbed it fast. I said we could talk in the car. I said this was not the place. I spoke like I was protecting him, even though I was protecting myself. Ethan followed me out with the cart. He did not argue. He did not touch me. He only asked one more time what I meant by that line. He asked if I truly felt that way. I told him he was twisting my words. I said he should focus on being a better husband instead of hunting for reasons to blame me. I said stress made people say stupid things. I said my visa paperwork was heavy and he did not understand what it felt like. We reached the car. Ethan put the bags in the trunk slowly. His hand tightened on the cart handle for 1 second. Then he let go, like he was practicing control. I watched him and felt a strange heat in my chest. Part of me wanted him to fight. Part of me wanted him to beg, to make me feel powerful again. When he did neither, I told myself he was cold. I told myself his calm was cruelty. On the drive home, he asked if I would be honest now. I said I already was. I said he just did not like my honesty. At a red light, he looked at Mason's booster seat in the back. He said we needed to think about what Mason saw and heard. I said Mason was fine. I said Ethan was making drama out of nothing. But when we pulled into the driveway, I saw Ethan's jaw set, in a way I had not seen before. It was not anger. It was a decision. And I knew, even then, that my useful truths had started to turn into something else. The next day, I woke up first. I told myself I would act normal. I said normal was power. If I acted normal, Ethan would doubt what he heard. That was my plan. I did not say it out loud, but I thought it like a rule. Ethan was already up. He sat at the table with his laptop again. He looked at the screen like he was reading something long. When I walked in, he closed it halfway, not like he was hiding it, but like he did not want to share it. He asked if we could talk before work. I said we already talked, and he chose to stay upset. I said I could not carry his feelings all day. I said he needed to calm down because the visa process was stressful enough. He asked what I meant when I said visa. He asked why I said it like a prize. He asked if I ever loved him. I told him love was not a movie. I said love was building a life. I said I moved countries, and that proved love. I said he was being dramatic because he hated feeling unsure. I said if he trusted me, he would not ask. He nodded once. He did not argue. He only asked if I was still seeing that friend. He did not say a name, but we both knew he meant Blake. I laughed and asked why he was obsessed with my social life. I said he sounded insecure. I said it was unattractive when a man acted small. I used that word on purpose. I wanted it to sting. He looked down at his coffee mug. I noticed there were 2 mugs now, spaced far apart. It was a small thing, but it felt like a wall. At the clinic, I acted bright. I smiled at patients. I used my customer voice. In the break room, Nora asked how things were at home. I said Ethan was spiraling. I said he was accusing me of things because he wanted control. I said he hated that I had friends. Nora asked if I felt safe. I knew what she meant, and I liked the direction. I said I felt emotionally unsafe sometimes. I said he did not hit me or anything, but he watched me like a guard. I said it was exhausting. Nora said I should stop letting him shrink my world. She said I deserved to feel young. She asked if I ever thought about leaving. I said leaving was not easy when papers were involved. I said I needed to be careful. I said Ethan knew that and used it. I made it sound like he held power over me, even though I was the one who used the system like a ladder. Later, when I was at the front desk, I checked my phone under the counter. Blake sent a short message and asked if I could come by the rooftop bar after his shift started. He said he missed my energy. He said I should bring a smile and no stress. I told him yes. I did not think about Ethan. I told myself Ethan had pushed me to it. I said he made home feel heavy, so I needed air. Around 4, Ethan texted again and asked if I would be home for dinner. He asked if we could talk with calm voices for Mason. He wrote Mason's name like a reminder. I said I might be a bit late because a patient ran long. I said I would try. I added another heart emoji. I liked how easy it was to lie in a sweet shape. On the way out, Nora asked where I was going. I said I had errands. Nora smirked and said I should enjoy myself. She said if Ethan wanted a perfect wife, he should act like a perfect husband. I nodded like it was wisdom. At the rooftop bar, the air smelled like citrus drinks and city heat. Music thumped but not too loud. Blake met me near the back railing. He looked pleased, like I was a reward. He asked if my husband was still acting weird. I said Ethan was playing victim. I said he heard a joke and turned it into betrayal. I said he wanted to feel like a hero, so he needed a villain. I said I refused to be that. Blake asked if Ethan could do anything about it. I said Ethan would not dare. I said he was too careful, too boring, too scared of looking bad. Saying it out loud made me feel strong. Blake poured me a soda and leaned close. He said I deserved a man who made me feel chosen. He said Ethan probably married me to feel important. I let him say it. I liked hearing my story told back to me in a way that made me clean. When I checked my phone, I saw 2 missed calls from Ethan and 1 message that asked if I was okay. I did not reply right away. I wanted him to wait. Waiting was a lesson. I posted a story online instead. I wrote a vague line about men who punish women for having a life. I did not name Ethan. I did not have to. People would fill in the blank. That was the best kind of control. Within minutes, Nora reacted with a fire emoji. 2 other friends sent messages and asked if everything was okay. I told them Ethan was being controlling and jealous. I said I was tired of being treated like property. I said I needed support. I went home after 10. I walked softly through the hallway. The house was dark except for the kitchen light. Ethan sat at the table. He did not stand up fast. He did not demand anything. He only looked tired. He asked where I was. I said work ran late. He asked why the bar's location showed on my phone when my phone connected to the car. I froze for half a second, then I shrugged and said apps were wrong all the time. He asked why my story online sounded like him. He asked if I wanted people to think he was abusive. I said he was making it about himself again. I said I posted it because other women understood stress. I said if he felt guilty, that was on him. I said he should ask why he made me feel trapped. He did not defend himself loudly. He asked if I would stop posting about our private life. He said Mason's school had parents who followed me. He said rumors could reach a child fast. I said he was using Mason to control me. I said he always hid behind family values when he wanted to win. I watched his face as I said it. I wanted to see anger. I wanted him to break so I could point and say, "See?" But he stayed calm. He said he did not want to fight. He said he wanted truth. He asked if I had been with Blake. I said no. I said he was paranoid. I said he needed therapy. I said if he kept accusing me, he would push me away for real. That line was a threat, but I delivered it like a warning. He went quiet. Then he stood and walked toward the stairs. I followed, not to comfort him, but to keep track. I saw the guest room door was closed. It was usually open. When he turned the knob, I heard a small click, like it had been locked. He noticed me watching. He said he needed space. He said he would sleep there for now. He said he would still take Mason to school in the morning. I tried to laugh and asked if he was being dramatic again. He did not answer. He went inside and closed the door. I stayed on the landing and listened. I heard a soft beep from his phone, like an app starting and stopping. Then it went quiet. In the hallway, I saw his laptop on the side table. For a second, the screen woke up, and I saw a spreadsheet grid. No title. Just rows. I told myself it meant nothing. I told myself he was tracking bills. I told myself I was still in control. But when I went back downstairs, my phone buzzed with another message from a friend asking if Ethan was doing something. That question made my stomach twist because it meant the story was growing without me holding every edge. The birthday dinner was for Raymond, Ethan's father. It was at a family restaurant with long tables and bright lights that made everyone look tired. I wore a dress that made me feel like I had the room. I told myself I deserved that feeling. I said I carried enough stress, so I earned a night where people watched me. Ethan drove us there. Mason sat in the back with a small toy car. Ethan asked if we could have a calm night. He said his parents did not need tension. He said Mason was already sensitive lately. I said I was calm. I said he was the one who kept bringing dark energy into normal moments. I said if he acted normal, everything would feel normal. I made it sound like a simple choice, like he was choosing pain. At the restaurant, Janice hugged Mason first. She asked how school was. Mason said he liked art class and did not like loud voices. Janice looked at me for half a second, like she wanted to ask something, but she didn't. Raymond shook Ethan's hand and then nodded at me. He was not cold, but he was careful. Holly sat near the middle of the table with her phone face down. She asked if everyone could just eat and enjoy. I could hear the plea in her voice. My friends came too. Nora came with 2 co-workers from the clinic. They did not know Ethan's parents well, but they liked the chance to be seen. They greeted Ethan like he was a polite stranger. That alone annoyed me. Ethan was my husband. The table should have treated him like a piece of furniture, not a person. Dinner started fine. We passed bread and talked about work. Ethan answered questions when asked. He smiled at Mason and cut his food into small pieces. He did not try to hold my hand. That absence felt like an insult, even though I told him to give me space before. Nora asked how Ethan liked being the steady one. She said it with a laugh like it was a compliment. Ethan nodded and said he liked keeping things running. Nora looked at me and raised her eyebrows like she wanted me to perform, so I performed. I told a story about Ethan fixing a router at home while I did real planning. I said I handled the big picture. I said he was good at small tasks. I said it like a joke, but I watched how it landed. Some people laughed too fast. Some people didn't laugh at all. Ethan asked me, quietly, to stop. He said it was not funny. I said he was too sensitive. I said I was just being honest. I said honesty should not hurt if it was true. Janice asked if we could talk about Raymond's birthday instead. I said of course, and then I kept going anyway, just softer. Nora asked if marriage was hard. I said marriage was hard when one person needed constant reassurance. I said some men needed to be praised for basic effort. I said women got tired of being a therapist at home. I said it like I was speaking for women everywhere. Holly asked what I meant. She said Ethan always seemed supportive. I shrugged and said supportive could also mean controlling. I said some men used support like a leash. I did not say Ethan's name, but I did not need to. The silence around the table held it. Ethan looked at his plate and stopped eating. He asked in a low voice why I was doing this in front of everyone. He asked if I wanted to hurt him. I said I wanted the truth in the open. I said I was tired of pretending. I said if he felt embarrassed, he should ask himself why. I said men love to act like victims when women finally spoke. Raymond cleared his throat and said he did not want drama on his birthday. I smiled and said there was no drama. I said Ethan was only upset because he did not like hearing how he came off to others. Mason dropped his fork. It clinked loud on the plate. He looked at Ethan and asked if Dad was mad. Ethan told him he was not mad. He said he was just thinking. Mason asked if we would still go to the park tomorrow. Ethan said yes, if the weather was okay. I felt something sharp when Ethan answered so calmly. It made me feel less important, like my words did not control the room. So I pushed again. I said Ethan did not know how to protect me. I said he was safe, but not strong. I said it was like living with a roommate who paid bills. I said it with a laugh and looked at Nora, because Nora always rewarded my cruelty with attention. Nora laughed. One of the co-workers snorted into her drink. Holly's face went red. Janice stared at her napkin like she wanted to fold it into a shield. Raymond's jaw tightened. Ethan finally looked up. He did not yell. He asked me to stop talking about him like he was a joke. He said I could dislike him, but I could not use a crowd to do it. I said he was trying to control the conversation again. I said he hated being seen. I said he preferred me quiet at home where he could manage me. I said if he wanted respect, he should earn it. He nodded once. Then he stood up slowly and asked Mason to come with him to the restroom. He said he needed to wash Mason's hands. Mason got up and followed him. Janice watched them go, and her eyes looked wet, but she blinked hard. Holly leaned toward me and asked what I was doing. She said she knew I was angry, but this was cruel. I said she was biased because Ethan was her brother. I said she did not understand what women went through. I said she always protected him because he played the nice guy. Raymond asked if I was having problems at home. I said Ethan created problems by being cold and suspicious. I said he acted like a detective instead of a husband. I said if he kept that up, he would ruin his own marriage. Janice asked, very quietly, if there was someone else. She did not accuse me. She asked like she already knew. My chest tightened for a second. I laughed and said she was being dramatic too. I said Ethan's whole family loved drama, and that was why he acted like this. I said they trained him to be a victim. When Ethan came back with Mason, he did not sit close to me. He sat beside Mason and kept his attention there. He asked Mason about school again. He asked Raymond about his work. He acted like a guest who wanted peace. That calm made me feel like I was losing. I wanted him to fight so I could point at it. Without a fight, my story looked thin. After cake, people started leaving. Nora hugged me and said I did great. She said men needed to learn. I smiled like I agreed, but my stomach felt tight. In the parking garage, Ethan walked ahead with Mason's hand in his. I followed behind them. The lights buzzed overhead. The air smelled like exhaust and old concrete. When Mason climbed into his booster seat, Ethan closed the door gently. Then he faced me. He asked if I enjoyed humiliating him. He asked if this was what I wanted our marriage to be. I said he was being dramatic again. I said he could have laughed with everyone and it would have been fine. I said he made it awkward by acting wounded. He looked at me for a long second. Then his phone screen lit up. I saw a calendar alert pop up with a location name and a time. It looked like a meeting reminder. He swiped it away without saying anything. I asked what that was. He said it was personal. He said he would not argue in a garage. He said we would talk later, calmly, with no audience. I wanted to follow him into that calm and tear it apart. I wanted him to chase me, not schedule me. But he opened the driver's door, started the car, and drove us home like a man who already decided something I could not change. The next week felt like walking on thin glass. Everything looked normal from outside, but small things cut me all day. Ethan did not argue with me anymore. He did not chase my moods. He did not ask for my phone again. He just moved through the house like a careful person. I told myself he was trying to punish me with silence. I said silence was a kind of control too. That idea helped me stay angry. On Monday morning, he woke Mason, made breakfast, and packed a school snack. He did not ask me if I wanted coffee. He poured his own cup and stood by the sink, looking out the window. Mason asked why Dad was quiet. Ethan said he was thinking and that it was okay. I said Ethan was acting strange because he wanted attention. I said men sometimes did that when they felt insecure. Mason looked between us and nodded like he accepted it, but his mouth stayed tight. At the clinic, I told Nora that Ethan was giving me the cold shoulder. Nora asked if I wanted her to come over for wine and talk. I said yes, but I also said I did not want Ethan to think I was scared. I said if he wanted a fight, he would not get it. Nora laughed and said I should keep posting my truth. She said people needed to see what I dealt with. That afternoon, I went to the school pickup line. The cars crawled forward in a slow, hot loop. Parents chatted through open windows. I watched a woman hand her child a juice box and kiss his head. For a second, I felt a sting of jealousy. I told myself it was not jealousy. I told myself it was anger at how easy life looked for other people. When Mason got in the car, he asked if we could go to the park. I said maybe later. He asked where Dad was. I said Dad was working. Mason said Dad had promised park time. I said Dad promised a lot of things, and then he made everyone wait. I said it like a joke, but Mason did not laugh. On the way home, I stopped at a pharmacy. I grabbed toothpaste and some snacks. At the register, I tapped my card, like always. The machine beeped, then showed a message. Declined. I blinked and tapped again. Declined. The cashier asked if I had another payment. 2 people stood behind me. I felt my face heat up. I tried a different card from my wallet. Declined again. I laughed in a light way and said the machine was acting up. The cashier said the machine was fine. She said, maybe I should call my bank. I paid with cash I had in my purse, but it was not enough for everything. I left some items behind. I walked out, holding a smaller bag than I planned, and it felt like I was carrying proof that I was not in control. In the car, I called Ethan. He did not answer. I called again, straight to voicemail. That made me feel insulted, like he was forcing me to beg. I texted him and asked why my cards were not working. I told him he could not do that. I said it was abusive to block money. I wrote that word on purpose. He replied 10 minutes later. He said he did not block money. He said the bank flagged unusual spending and needed confirmation. He said he had already confirmed basic bills. He said he would transfer money for Mason's needs and groceries if I sent a list. He said he wanted spending to be clear right now. I stared at the message. He did not sound angry. He sounded organized. That was worse. I called Nora and told her Ethan was controlling my money. Nora asked if I was sure. I said yes, because what else could it be? I said he was trying to make me dependent. Nora said I should tell people. She said men hated when women had options. I posted another vague line online about financial control. I did not name Ethan again, but I used words that painted a picture. Almost right away, 2 friends sent messages asking if I needed help. I felt satisfied for a moment. Support felt like oxygen. That night, Ethan came home with Mason. He carried Mason's backpack and a small grocery bag. He had bought Mason's favorite yogurt. He set it on the counter and washed his hands. He did not look at my phone. He did not ask about my day. I asked him what he thought he was doing. I asked if he was proud of embarrassing me in public. I asked if he wanted me to beg. He said he did not want me to beg. He said he wanted clarity. He said he was not going to fight about money in front of Mason. He said he would cover necessities, and everything else could wait until we had a plan. I said he was acting like a boss, not a husband. I said he was trying to punish me because his pride got hurt at a dinner. I said he was proving my point that he only cared about control. He asked me to stop saying control like it was magic. He said he was taking steps to protect the household. He said he was doing it calmly and lawfully. He said he would not argue with insults. Mason sat at the table coloring. He listened without looking up. He asked if we could still have movie night. Ethan said yes. I said maybe, depending on Dad's mood. Ethan looked at me, then looked away, like he refused to take the bait. After Mason went upstairs, Ethan opened a drawer in the side cabinet. I heard a clicking sound, like a lock. It was a small sound, but it made my stomach drop. I asked why he was locking things now. He said he was organizing important papers. He said it was normal adult work. He said he did not want anything lost. His voice stayed flat, like he practiced it. I walked closer and saw labeled folders on the table. They said household, utilities, and bank. There was also a plain envelope with no writing. I reached toward it without thinking, but Ethan slid it away. He asked me not to touch his work. He said if I needed something, I could ask. He said he was keeping records. He said it was better that way. I felt rage rise, fast and hot. I said he was acting like I was a criminal. I said he was building a case against me. I said he was trying to scare me because he knew I had options. He asked what options I meant. He asked if I meant Blake. He asked it calmly, like he was checking a box. I laughed and said he was obsessed again. I said Blake was nothing. I said Ethan was making himself crazy. I said if he kept it up, he would push me away for real. Ethan nodded once. He said he would not talk about Blake tonight. He said he wanted the house quiet. He said Mason needed sleep, not adults performing. Later, when I went up to get water, I passed the guest room. The door was closed. I heard a low hum, like a shredder running for a short burst. Then it stopped. The hallway smelled faintly like warm toner, like paper had just come out of a printer. I stood there and listened, but nothing else happened. No yelling, no footsteps, just silence, like he wanted me to know he was busy without inviting me in. Back in our bedroom, I opened my phone and checked my messages with Blake. I told myself Ethan forced me into this. I told myself Ethan made the marriage cold, so I needed warmth somewhere else. I typed to Blake that things at home were tense. Blake replied with one short line and said I should be careful. That word, careful, made me feel small. It was the word people used when they were already stepping back. I stared at the ceiling in the dark and tried to tell myself I still had the crowd. I still had friends. I still had my story. But the declined card, the locked drawer, and Ethan's steady voice kept replaying in my head like a warning I refused to name. The fundraiser at the community hall was supposed to be simple. It was for the school. There were folding chairs, bright banners, and a table full of cookies. Parents talked in small groups. Kids ran in circles like wind-up toys. I liked crowded places because they gave me cover. In a crowd, I could choose a story and let it grow. Ethan came with Mason. He wore a plain shirt and carried a small bag with wipes and a water bottle. He looked like the kind of man people trusted. That made me angry, because I wanted people to look at me with the same trust, even when I did not earn it. On the way inside, Ethan asked if we could keep it polite tonight. He said Mason needed a normal evening. He said we could talk later at home. I said we had nothing to talk about if he stopped acting like a detective. I said he was ruining every event with his moods. I said if he wanted peace, he should stop pushing me. He did not answer. He just opened the door for Mason and let him go to the kids' table. Nora was already there with 2 other parents from the clinic crowd. She waved like we were a team. She asked if I was okay. I said I was dealing with a husband who hated my freedom. I said he wanted to watch my every step. I said it calmly, like it was a fact. Nora asked if Ethan was acting controlling again. I said yes. I said he was using money and silence to make me behave. I said it in a careful way, like I was choosing words for a reason. I watched faces around me. I saw a few eyebrows lift. I felt a small rush. Ethan stood near the coffee station and spoke to a teacher about a new laptop for the classroom. He sounded helpful. He sounded steady. He did not look at me while I talked. That was the worst part. It felt like he removed himself from my performance, like he refused to be my stage. A parent I knew from pickup asked if everything was fine at home. I smiled and said it was stressful. I said immigration paperwork and work made life heavy. I said Ethan did not handle stress well. I said he blamed me for his worries. The parent nodded and said marriage was hard. I acted grateful, like I just needed support. I did not say the word affair. I never said it. In my head, I called it breathing. Mason came over and asked if he could have a cookie. Ethan said yes and asked him to say thank you. Mason looked at Ethan's face like he was checking the weather. Then Mason looked at me and asked if we would all watch a movie later. I said maybe, if Dad did not turn it into a lecture. Ethan did not react. He only told Mason that movie night would happen and that the adults could be calm. He said it like a promise to Mason, not to me. Nora leaned closer and asked why Ethan was so quiet. She said quiet men were scary because you never knew what they were doing. I liked that line. I repeated it later to someone else, like it was my own thought. I went to the restroom and checked my phone. I had messaged Blake earlier and asked if he wanted to meet after the fundraiser. He replied late and short. He said he was busy. He said work was crazy. He added that I should keep things low profile for a while. I asked what that meant. He said he did not want drama. He said he did not want to be pulled into marriage problems. He said he liked me, but he did not like consequences. That word hit me again. Consequences. I stared at the screen and felt a heat behind my eyes. I told myself Blake was just being smart. I told myself men got nervous when women had real needs. I told myself I could handle it alone. When I walked back into the hall, Ethan was helping stack chairs. A teacher thanked him. Ethan nodded and smiled like a normal husband and father. It made my stomach twist. I wanted him to look guilty. I wanted him to look messy. Instead, he looked clean. In the car, Ethan asked if I enjoyed talking about him to strangers. He asked if I noticed Mason watching. He asked if I understood what it did to a child when his parents acted like enemies in public. I said he was guilt-tripping me. I said he was using Mason as a shield. I said if he wanted me to act happy, he should stop trying to trap me. I said I had my own life and he was not my warden. He said he did not want to be my warden. He said he wanted a respectful marriage or a clear plan. He said he would not fight for attention anymore. He said he would not beg. I laughed and asked if he was giving up. I said it proved he never loved me enough. I said a real man would fight. I said if he did not fight, it meant I was right to look elsewhere. Ethan kept his eyes on the road. He asked me not to speak like that in front of Mason. He said I could say anything to him later, but Mason deserved peace. At home, Mason went upstairs to change. I went to the kitchen and opened a cabinet too hard. I wanted noise. Noise made me feel present. Ethan washed his hands and set his phone on the counter face down. He asked if I would sit for 5 minutes. He said he wanted to speak like adults. I said fine. I said I would listen, but I would not accept threats. He said he was not threatening me. He said he was setting boundaries. He said he wanted all-important communication in writing from now on. He said it kept things clear. He said it reduced confusion. I asked why he was acting like a robot. I asked why he was making our marriage sound like a business. He said because feelings were not working. He said chaos was harming Mason. He said he would keep paying for needs and keep showing up for school. He said he would not argue about my posts or my friends in circles anymore. I told him he was doing this to punish me. I said he was trying to scare me into behaving. I said he knew my status was stressful and he was using it. Ethan looked at me for a long moment. Then he asked one simple question. He asked if I married him for love or for the visa. My mouth went dry. I felt a flash of panic, then I turned it into anger. I said he was obsessed. I said he was rewriting our whole relationship because his pride was hurt. I said he wanted a reason to paint me as evil. I said he was the one who needed help. He nodded once, like he had heard enough. He stood and opened a drawer in the side cabinet. I heard that small lock click again. He did not show me anything inside. He only closed it and kept his hands calm. He asked me to check my email tonight. He said there would be information I needed to read. He did not say from who. He did not say what it was. He just said I needed to read it. I asked if he was planning something. I asked if he was going to embarrass me again. He said he would not embarrass me. He said he would not shout or threaten. He said he would handle it properly. I went to the immigration office on a Tuesday morning with my hair neat and my papers in a clean folder. I told myself this was just another step. I said couples fought all the time, and it meant nothing. I said Ethan was only sulking, and he would get over it when he saw I was still calm. The waiting room smelled like hand sanitizer and old carpet. People held numbers and looked at the floor. Mason was with Holly today, because Ethan said a child should not sit in a place like this. I told myself he was trying to look like the perfect dad for an audience. I told myself it was a performance. Then I saw Ethan across the room, sitting straight with his hands folded. He did not wave. He did not look angry. He looked prepared. Beside him was a woman with a plain notebook and a badge on her belt that said she was allowed to be there. I felt my throat tighten. I walked over and asked what he was doing here. I said he did not need to come because I could handle my own appointment. Ethan looked at me for a moment and said he was here to answer questions if the officer asked. He said he would keep it respectful. I asked if he was trying to scare me. He said he was not trying to scare me. He said he was doing it properly. My number was called. An officer led me to a small room with 2 chairs and a desk. Ethan came in too, and the woman with the notebook sat slightly behind him. The officer asked us to raise our right hands and swear to tell the truth. I did it fast, like it was routine. The officer asked how we met and why we married. I answered smoothly. I said we fell in love. I said I moved for our future. I said we built a family. Then the officer looked at a folder on the desk and asked if I had ever told anyone I married Ethan for immigration benefits. My mouth went dry. I smiled and said no. I said that was ridiculous. The officer turned a page and asked if I recognized my own voice. She pressed a button, and the room filled with the sound of my voice from that grocery store day. It was me saying the line I tried to call a joke. The officer paused the audio and asked me to explain. I said it was sarcasm. I said people joked when they were stressed. I said Ethan knew my humor. I said he was twisting it because he was insecure. The officer asked about Blake Rios. She did not say it like a guess. She said it like a fact. She asked if I had a relationship outside my marriage while I was presenting myself as a good faith spouse. I laughed too loud and said no. I said Ethan was obsessed with that name. The officer slid a few printed pages forward. They showed messages with dates and times, bar receipts, and location pings. There was also a screenshot of my own post about control and a statement from a building manager about late-night returns. The officer asked why I told Ethan I was working during those times. I said apps were wrong. I said receipts proved nothing. I said someone could fake screenshots. I said Ethan had access to our accounts and could twist anything. I kept talking because silence felt like losing. Ethan did not interrupt me. He did not insult me. When the officer asked him a direct question, he answered with short sentences. He said he did not want revenge. He said he wanted the truth recorded because my public posts were harming his name and the home. He said he reported what he believed was fraud and provided what he had, and he did it through official channels. He said he would follow whatever process the government decided. The officer nodded slowly. She said my case was no longer a normal interview. She said there had been a fraud-finding review and a referral, and today was part of that process. She said my status would be terminated and that I would be placed into removal processing based on the record in front of her. She said I would receive a notice and instructions, and I needed to follow them. I stood up fast and asked if I could fix it. I asked if we could talk privately. The officer told me to sit. She said I could request legal advice, but the process was moving now. She asked for my passport. My hands shook as I passed it over. In the public hallway, people stared when an escort walked near me. Ethan stayed back. I looked at him and waited for him to look guilty, but he only looked tired. I asked him how he could do this to me. He said he did not do it to me. He said I did it, and he only stopped covering for it. I said I had nowhere to go. I said I was Mason's mother. Ethan said Mason would be cared for. He said Holly and Janice were already making a schedule. He said I could communicate about Mason through writing, and he would respond about the child only. When the final instruction was read and confirmed, my ears rang. I heard words like order and removal, and I felt the floor tilt. I tried to speak again, but the escort told me